Hello, guys.
So,
Welcome to our AI Unchained podcast, Ep.6. Today, it's got a very honor to invite Sean, the co-founder and CEO of Magic Labs in Newton. So here today, Sean, please give a quick intro about yourself and your journey. Like over the last few years, you guys built an amazing product, amazing brand in the crypto industry. So looking forward to hear more.
thanks. It's great. It's great to be here, and yeah, it's great to chat live. I know we've been chatted many times in real life, and yeah, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Magic Labs. We are known for creating one-click email wallets, powering crypto applications like Polymarket, and we're the developers behind Newton Protocol. Yeah, prior to Magic Labs, I was very involved in the dev tools and infrastructure space, and was the founding team member of Docker Desktop, which is part of millions of developers' daily workflow. So just a quick history. We've been around for a while. We started back in 2018. And at that time, the de facto wallet experience was browser extensions and seed phrases. I got into crypto 2016, and I was very inspired by Ethereum's vision, not just like enabling cryptocurrencies, but just unlocking a diverse set of use cases. Like DeFi was talked about back then. NFT for art was talked about back then, and the vision was very big, but the user experience was very poor. So I tried to build some use cases myself just prior to founding Magic, but yeah, just really didn't work out because users couldn't really get started. And yeah, 2018, I was like, yeah, screw it. We're just gonna build an email social login wallet and kind of wrap it in a nice, easy developer SDK. And yeah, and that was the start of embedded wallet. We were the first guys to try it. And yeah, fast forward over 7 years now. We have onboarded over 50 million wallets, and we work with some of the top applications like Polymarket, Helium, Reown, Wallet Connect, and to enterprises like Naver and Forbes and Mattel. So we felt like we really opened the door to just more people getting into crypto by solving wallet creation. Now I think there's a huge opportunity with AI and automation, and Web3 and Web3 wallets weren't really built for automation. It was like an EOA wallet. Now there's smart accounts, but with session keys, that's like another iteration. But I think there's more that can be done, right? Like, how can you fully trust the AI agent to go fully autonomously and automating your wallets and asset for you? That's a hard problem that we're looking to solve with Newton Protocol. So yeah, that's just a quick background here.
Actually, that's a good question. In this case, how you actually solve this yourself? In this case, we are designing a new mechanism to actually solve this as well. To delegate wallet to agent to the spending rules in this case. But this is actually just a masterpiece for us to able to empower the bigger version. So I wonder how you solve it in this case. I think we'll be able to work together on this part.
Yeah, definitely. We love to. It's a big problem to solve, so we love to work with other people looking at this. And I think for us, like we announced, we released this Newton XYZ, which is sort of this end-to-end demo product. So what we did was we were creating a Unchained smart account, right? That's connected to a session key, right, with spending limit. and it works for like simpler permissions, right? It works for just spending limit, maybe the type of assets like expiration date. But I think it can be a lot more, where let's say you can have a trading strategy where the AI agent can only trade if volatility is low, or like if the RSI technical indicator is below, it's oversold or overbought. Like any kind of like oracleized or on-chain type of permissions, that's just not possible with current technology. So there's a lot of things that we're looking at, like to create different types of permissions, right? That allows us to create these guardrails for verifiable automation. We're looking at a ZK-based permissioning. We're looking at AVS-based as well. Like each kind of comes with its own benefits, and that's kind of the high level direction that we're going at. And the goal is to create this policy engine, right? That is secured by crypto, so that crypto assets can be safely automated by AI agents. The analogy is kind of like, how Chainlink brought off-chain data on-chain. We're sort of bringing the off-chain permissions on-chain. So we can create this sort of policy engine for agents.
I see. So in this case, so basically when user log in the Gmail, you create session key, you're going to custodian this session key, and then every single spending will use the session key and goes to a smart contract with the governance and spending rules.
Yeah, a session key is sort of one interface, right, to the policy engine. But we're also looking at other sort of on-chain primitives that we can create. For example, like vaults, or kind of like a morpho vault, right? Kind of approach where only wallets with permissions can move funds in there. So there's different kind of form factors to interface with the policy engine.
Yeah, so actually this reminded me some of the recent launches in the market, for example, like from Coinbase, and recently they also launched their CDP wallets with the agentic payment solutions using USDC, all those stuff. And their approach when it comes to policy engine is more kind of like the off-chain centralized approach. So what you guys are trying to do here is more like moving more like the control and have them more flexibility, still on chain. Is that the case that you guys are trying to?
So yeah, there will be either sort of, if it's the ZK permission, it'll be like with ZK snarks, right? It's either ZK snarks or BLS signed, with AVS validation. But the general idea is that like every policy should be backed either by cryptographic or economic proof, right? So instead of if it's like all on-chain, it'll be like really expensive, right? If AI is making a lot of decisions and proving a lot. So it's like there's this delicate balance, right, that needs to be created, where it's not like 100% all on-chain, but with the right consensus or like proofs model, where ensuring that we're kind of bridging the off-chain permissions on-chain, right? Whereas the proofs can be verified on-chain, but they're kind of generated off-chain.
Got it. Makes sense. So actually, first of all, thank you so much for walking us through about your journey. I'm curious, and also you actually touched on a lot of questions already that I was planning to ask, like what was the gap you saw when you were trying to build Magic, and then why move to Newton as solving for agentic automation stuff. One thing actually recently you must have saw in the market is the acquisition that Stripe had on another embedded wallet company, Pravi. What's your take? They Pravi is probably one of your guys' competitors in the market, right? Where
Yeah.
you guys are
I think, like we were one of the first embedded wallet, and we were happy that there's a lot of people also creating embedded wallets to really open the door to, user adoption, right? And as an industry, right, the goal is to have like billions of like everyday users come in. So I'm very happy about kind of this development because ultimately it's about the vision. And I do think that embed wallet is just like the start, right? It's and there's so much to do, right? And that's why we've launched Newton and the Newton protocol because we do see a future where there's not just like a billion like crypto user wallets, but there could be like trillions of agentic wallets, right? So I think that would be the next frontier to unlock. But these can't be like kind of like simple and dumber wallets. They have to be like much smarter and more compatible with agent sort of AI native world.
Actually, would you mind if you expand a little bit more here? Like, what is that AI nativeness that you think the normal wallet, UI wallet, or the current, the current design is not fit enough to agents or like agentic workflow?
Yeah. If you look at like wallets today, it's a you're sort of creating a server-based wallets. We have that technology as well to create an API-based wallets. And if you're looking at either AI agents or other forms of automation like Telegram bots, you're creating this basically API wallet, right, for the agent or the bot. And then the user is just trusting completely. And they're just depositing all of their assets into that one wallet. And then the agent sort of does things with that wallet, right? And yeah, like and there's like no guardrails. You're fully trusting the centralized server that is making these transactions. I think this works for like maybe meme coin like sniping, like fun and games. But if we're really thinking about agent managing larger amounts of money, I think we need to like rethink that model. And yeah, not like depositing assets right directly into that private key managed by that agent. And that's sort of like the de facto approach, right? Either it's a private key stored in like environment variable local files, or it's like a server API based wallet.
I see. Scott, you want to?
Yeah, actually I saw a different approach here in this case. For example, with AI agent coming, if you look at the AI startup school, Andrea Capazzi, mentioned currently the biggest problem, he experienced during application building is authentication and payment, and then you saw different companies are already approaching in different way. For example, Okta is building a votes sharing in this case. Like Okta already has a single sign-on in this case, connect with 800 apps, and then they now want to extend it the vote sharing with AI agent in this case. So for example, if I have an AI agent, I can share my vote with AI agent, and then whatever I have in access, my AI agent can share. But every single time AI agent access it, I need to delegate this access, right? That's one approach, from what Okta do. I saw from other smaller company is doing this API based access, and then for example, Composio is like what they do is that MCP type of the server, and then they need, if you're using them, you need to register API key to access Composio. But for every single services, in this case, for example, Google services, etc., you need to register their bearer token or this other different token to access, and then on top of it, you can have the payment spending in this case. I definitely saw a different Web2 way to do it. I think for Web3, I think that the fancy part about Web3 is that the wallet is always programmable. So, it's almost like zero cost to create. It's actually zero cost to create a wallet, right? In this case, and then you can just do whatever you like with the wallet. How you actually architecture wallet structure. if you look at DID part, there's tons of DID proposal or different DID in this case. And I wonder what's your view for the AI agent wallet management in the future?
Yeah, maybe maybe leaking a little bit alpha here is I think we look a lot as well. Like definitely it's not like a single EOA wallet, right, managed by agents. But yeah, we've actually been looking at like sort of vault format as well, where the vault is connected to like the policy engine. We'll obviously share more as we progress. But yeah, like I think there needs to be some kind of like you said, kind of like a shared vault sort of format, where the fund is not deposited directly with the AI agent, and the user kind of retains some access with the vault, right? And obviously making sure that it's like very cheap to create a vault like this, and because if it's like a full smart account, there's like all these modules that come with it, that could make it a bit more expensive. So yeah, I think that's but ultimately I think it's about the policy engine and the permissions, right, that comes with it. Where users can define the guardrails and boundaries for this agent to operate. And Vault is just like one interface, right, that you choose to connect to that policy engine. So yeah, like that's like our primary focus, and maybe there will be something better, right, that comes after, and then we can like explore that too.
Tell me about the policy engine. How you define the policy here? Actually, I'm wondering. Could you tell more about the policy engine? How do you actually define the policy? How what does policy engine mean in this case?
Yeah, so there's two approaches that we're exploring. Obviously, the technical folks can answer it better, but like for example, ZK permissions could be defined using Rust, compiled into a potentially SP1 compatible ZK circuit. And whereas the AVS permissions, we're looking at potentially like Rego, evaluated by AVS operators and return BLS signatures. And then so for AVS permissions, it could be like faster and cheaper verification, but to potentially, so that's kind of like some higher level thoughts. Obviously, if you want to get more technical, I can and get technical folks.
Yeah. I wonder in this case, it's as you mentioned previously, is this policy engine actually some guardrails to guided AI agent spending, wallet spending, or is this a policy engine more like okay, okay. In that case,
so spending is like one thing, right? But it could also be because you can actually call like URLs, so you can potentially grab like real market data as part of the policy, and that's something that you can't really do with existing on-chain sort of session keys. So I think that would be like one of the biggest breakthroughs, right? Or even something simple like the max spending limit is based on like USD cost of total tokens, right? Like you can't really do that currently unless you're just dealing with one type of stable currencies.
Yeah, actually, this is I'm glad we touched this part, because literally, recently internally we were chatting a lot about like what type of policies we think agentic payments or agentic wallets should enable. That's why I also ask you, like, when you design this policy engine, are they all like on-chain or part of that's are off-chain? Because we have the same kind of like problems or concerns as you mentioned. This will be too expensive to put everything on chain, and plus something is invisible. So that's why, what is the part that's off-chain? But it's quite interesting, and good that you mentioned, even though they're part of the part of the like design, and also like for example like the data source from like the real world type of grabbing extraction cannot be served through the on-chain approach at the moment. But even if that is put off chain, you still have the verifiability and the attestation of that operation. So that's just kind of like a balance or trade, like a more a balanced way of providing a feasible solution, but still have verifiability and auditability in the process.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not like, always like black and white, right? It's really like finding the balance, right? And the kind of security model that works for like the use case and target audiences. Yeah.
Let me ask you one more question. I still want to go back to that Stripe and Pravi combo a bit. What's your
to talk about something else.
You what?
Let's talk about something else.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, so you don't want to touch it. Okay, then. So in that case, so what is the for Newton, then where do you think like the initial use cases and initial adoption can come from? So, and also, in the beginning, by the way, I'm also curious about the history. Like for Magic, you guys, like you said, have over 50 million wallets, a lot of the enterprise customers, partners before. Where the adoption initially come from? And how do you think is kind of like give you insights and, like a guidance for like the go-to-market for Newton in the future?
Yeah. So, I think number one is Magic is like one of the most like trusted brand, especially kind of given how long we've been in the market, and still till today, Magic's wallet has been the most compliant wallet. SOC 2 Type 2 and even ISO is actually the only embedded wallet that checks those two compliance boxes still. And we've been around, so like a lot of our applications are very durable, right? From multiple cycles. So like for example, Polymarket is one, right? Also Helium is a customer sort of on the deep end side. So we're very focused on the customers that has been onboarded, but also in some cases, we're not distributing the wallets to these customers directly. We're working with other companies who are interested in using our technology, like Real or previously known as Wallet Connect. So they're wrapping our kind of key management solution and distributing it to other users. So or we work with other blockchain projects like Immutable, who also kind of build their own wallet solution. Because my belief about wallets is that it's not like one size fit all, right? And to really distribute it out there, you kind of have to let your customers make that decision too. So like that's why I don't really see like a lot of similarity with like other embed wallet competitors, because like we're more like distributors of this technology, and we don't necessarily need to build that like end user relationship, at least on the Magic side, right? And with Newton, that's very very separate from Magic Labs. So.
Got it. Interesting. So then actually for Magic itself, it's you guys is kind of like can be like the hero behind the scene, basically do a lot of like white labeled supports for companies who need to launch their wallet. In that case, still, did you see any like vertical that has more adoptions, like commerce or like a gaming company? You mentioned Never, which is like one of the largest tech company in Korea, have a lot of things, Map, like a conglomerate. So I'm curious if you see any like particular industry verticals that has more needs for getting to the crypto via like a wallet.
I think one of the one of the benefit with like kind of being more in the background is like when a new trend comes, right? Like the other wallet builders can sort of build for that. But we're, currently we're definitely seeing a lot more interest in like stablecoin use cases, um, and uh, and also there's some AI, right? Like, oh, agents need the wallet, but that kind of goes back to what we've been talking about. The wallet needs the policy side of things, and so that's why we're
Got it.
built Newton. Um, yeah, like a lot of DeFi type of experiences. I think gaming less so, but it kind of comes and goes. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, let's then talk a little bit more about Newton, right? Like, yeah, I think right now this is so early of a space for any type of like agentic infra or like middlewares to support the future agent interactions, and we call like agentic internet with a lot, like millions or even trillions of agents running around. So for this type of, so that's why if you look at the markets right now, I think both Web2 and Web3 companies are trying to tackle similar problems with different approaches. And when it comes to agentic wallets and payment, right? Like people are all, there's definitely a lot of companies, big and small, like big ones, like even again, like Coinbase, PayPal, Stripe, Visa. Everybody's talking about like the, something like that's agentic payments, agentic commerce. So that's why, like, the reason I ask about if particular use cases you guys observed or you guys are planning to go with, even like in the markets, you can see that there's a different like verticals people are trying to tackle. Some people are trying to start with agentic shopping, agentic commerce, and some people start with even like the business operations, have like an agent to automate some of like the invoicing, reimbursement, and wage payments for the employees. And some people will more focus on like developers will be more focused on the developer tools. So Scott, for example, mentioned Composio. They are more like the authentication type of like focus on for agent to access the MCP tool, MCP service that's like agent need. But similarly, we also saw some people are trying to solve like agentic payments vertical through like by adding like or like serving a lot of like the MCP service in the market and make the MCP builders able to accept payments, so that agent can like use those services. So yeah, that's why I was wondering if you guys at the front line see any like interesting use cases, and particular if there's use cases you guys are excited to like focus more on right now.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, there's too many, and the development is so fast on like multiple front. Like there's, like you said, there's many companies pushing the boundaries here. So I think, and for me, the capability of the AI agents, I'm not very concerned about. I think it's eventually going to get to a place where a lot of these use cases can be addressed. And that's why we're more focused on like the security angle, right? Like the blanket that can apply to all of these different type of use cases, whether that's commerce, which is talked about a lot in both Web3 and Web2. And like also within our company, like treasury, like automation, like that's also like a huge pain point, right, for businesses. That I don't think people talk about as much. So I think that could be like a use case. Obviously, like diff AI is a use case, right? Where you're kind of using automated trading strategies or automatic like yield optimization, right? So those come up a lot. So yeah, like there's just a lot of threads. But yeah, like I think from the Newton perspective, yeah, all of them need this level of security, right, for any kind of automation. So yeah, we're very excited about all these use cases popping up and being so early, right, to kind of see where the trends go and sort of adapt because we have the foundational layer to help address it.
Got it. That's very cool. And any questions from Scott's side before I keep going?
So actually, I second on the strengths here. I feel like the AI is moving so fast is that people are not realize how many potential opportunities there are. Like Sam Altman in AI Establishment School mentioned, it's actually the best time ever to start a company in this case. And then what we observe AI agent is doubling its capability every 7 months in this case. It's actually, if you think about Moore's law, it's actually 2.5 faster than Moore's law in this case. And then, how AI agent, security for the AI agent, and then, payment for the AI agent, it's tons of things, left randomly open to do. Like you have like a giant vacuum for any company to scrap to, nature hit vacuum, it will be swarmed by different company. It will be, like a fueled by different company, different, protocols, very so. I think, yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think like it's so early because I think a lot of the agents aren't really like fully autonomous. Like I'm talking about like Web2 standpoint, right? It still requires that human in the loop, and I think for like agents to really achieve the potential, right, and help people save time, right, it needs some kind of give user that like trust and assurance, right, for it to be able to go on full autopilot, especially when it comes to money, right, and even just like coding too. Like there's you kind of still need to confirm what's going on.
Right, but I think most of people don't have an idea about exponential growth, and in this case, and then so that's why, even today, agent can help you do some basic, administration stuff, help you process a document, like fill a form in this case, and then we're gonna have exponential growth for next few years. We didn't see a slowing for this exponential growth. I think that's the part, like an AI agent can take over the world. Mark, Mark from Salesforce has a famous word like software is eating the world. I feel like now AI agent is eating the world.
100%. I think I'm more of a on the optimist side about this, where this could be pretty scary for some folks too.
Scott, when you say the Salesforce one, I really, this reminds me of, again, like a lousy joke. So we were talking about SaaS, right? Like Salesforce is also like one of the very pioneer of SaaS. And now people are talking about ass. There's not going to be like a SaaS anymore. It's not going to be ass. Like agent as a service.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's,
yeah. Actually, Sean, you touched a very very important point. That's what we are, now like building a lot of solutions around, and also like trying to advocate to the market. And also that is something I do think a lot of like the Web2 partners who are like clients that we're talking to, they think it's the key of the key, which is when it comes to autonomous system, any autonomous system, no matter it's like the old way or like now more intelligent way, trust is everything. In the end, if you want to like something to be able to, like help you to do stuff end to end, especially without human in the loop, you need trust. So I think that's why I resonate a lot when you say our solution for Newton, the differentiation that we are really trying to focus compared to other people is like the security part. And that's actually also like boiled down in the end, like how can I bring more trust to the end users? So in that case, I'm curious, like how do you like, trust can come from many different areas, right? It can be from like the technical implementation. It also can come from like the user experience. the way that's actually now we are saying like, oh, you still need to click a button to prove that is a hybrid approach, or it's kind of a, like a intermediate step right now to bring more trust to user, because they felt like, oh, I'm still in control with what's the agent need to do here. So I'm curious, like how, when it comes to like this core thesis of trust, and also like you guys build like security, which I do consider it's part of the trust as well. What are the key areas that you felt like it should be like from your product design and approach perspective to be delivered to the users, and not just from the technical implementation perspective?
Yeah, I think it's important to make sure like you're being very communicative on a lot of things. Like for example, like even let's say even if we solve the security like perfectly, right? And we still need to kind of communicate this to the end users, obviously in a simple way, not like in an essay, right? um, and, um, and because it's something that is very, very new, it needs to be designed from kind of the ground up, right? Like for example, when you when generalized blockchain first came out, if there's no like block explorer, you kind of don't trust it as much, right? It's like, okay, maybe I understand the tech, but like, is it actually happening? And then eventually you kind of learn to trust, oh, if there's like the block explorer transactions, then I sort of trust it. And I think for these kind of agentic sort of actions that is taken, yeah, there needs to be like sort of like a block explorer for that as well, right? Or I sometimes think make the analogy like, oh, like it should be kind of like a FedEx delivery system looking thing, right? Where you go from point A to point B. There's all the steps in between. The user can sort of follow through on the journey, right? Into these different systems. So I think there are ways to simplify it and make it feel like it's similar to how they're experiencing some other things in their life. So yeah, like it's not, when we talk about UX, it's not just about like less steps. It's more about like, oh, is it kind of familiar as well, right? So so I generally look at, are there like adjacent or similar things in their day-to-day life, like for example tracking a delivery, can we bring that in the in this new type of experience, right? Yeah, I think being able to design the product and communicating that transparency and how the system work in like a very simple way, that's really the design challenge. And yeah, and then kind of go from there, right? And let's say something gets a lot of adoption, yeah, then naturally people start trusting it more and more, and your interface can get lighter and lighter to the point where eventually people just trust it by default, and the whole technology kind of disappears in the background. And, and I think that's what really, like, I think technology and like AI automation is about. Is like, I don't want to be like doing all these things on my phone or a computer. Like I can just like be creative or we touch grass while all the other things are done, right? So so that's like the end goal, but there's like a lot of steps in the middle, and bootstrapping that sense of trust in the beginning from security, from design, from like just all of that needs to be done with like extra intention in the beginning.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, this honestly like reminded me of some of the previous discussions, and also some podcasts I was listening to about some Web2 companies, AI companies, how they design their products right now. Typical one is Link. Cursor was really, like having, when they design the products, some of the similar philosophies like you mentioned, right? Like really bring the transparency, more transparency potentially to the user, especially given that they're not that familiar and comfortable with this new type of technologies. So you kind of like also, that's why I really like the analog that you mentioned about FedEx tracking system. You also, that's kind of like already touched another the questions initially I was trying to, like ask about the verifiability piece, because in some way this tracking system, what we are talking about here is it's not only like transparency, transparent tracking lineage of like the agentic workflow, but also we bring like potentially like the cryptographic verifiability in the process. So in this case, I'm curious, like when it comes to that type of like, verifiability or like potentially even end-to-end verifiability, what is the like on top of your mind? What is the most relevant use cases that this type of guarantee or insurance will be super critical for users to leverage?
I think number one, we talked a lot is the policy side of things. But when we talk about verifiability, if you look at like just pure like from a crypto standpoint, it's like you're sort of getting visibility into okay, what is being done, right? But when you touch on automated systems like AI, they need to prove their reasoning and decision making, right? That part is very important. Why they're doing certain actions? Did they actually follow the rules? And when it comes to that, I think like verifying the model is actually very important, right? Like I could be saying I'm running the super expensive, like super smart model, but I could just be running a cheaper model in the server, right? Like how do you prove that is actually using the smarter model, or there's like no like a person behind the scenes just doing everything, right? So so I'm kind of excited to see some of the developments in like confidential compute where you can like deploy models inside like maybe like a GPU TE, so that like that's the model that is running. So almost like a KYA, know your agent, would like there'll be like a real person right on the internet, and they need to prove who they are, and maybe by proving who they are, one, they're proving that they're using the right brain, and then they're like proving that they're following the law, right? like real person is doing. So I think that'd be pretty cool to see, and I think it would be like pretty important.
Yeah, I think there is always a question. I think during OpenAI time, roughly a year ago, OpenAI downgraded their model performance if it's a simple query in this case, and then people are complaining, people get evidence for it. I feel like it's technical feasible if you can prove that you are, like as a, no matter use T solution or use ZK-TLS, you can technical feasible, you can prove that I am indeed calling the OpenAI O3 model in this case, and then give you this input-output result. But I feel like it's well, at least I couldn't think of a way to prove, like OpenAI is not downgrading from O3 model to like like to a cheaper model like a ChatGPT 3 or ChatGPT 4. Actually, it's not only technically, I feel like it's not only technically feasible, but it's also impractical as well, because every single model here is actually not just one model. You have a model, different snapshot. You need to A/B testing for different model. You have different pipeline around the model in this case. And then, so even though all the people are using, like take Facebook as example, all the people are using Facebook, but any single time you have 10,000 different versions of Facebook you're playing with. Similarly with OpenAI, I don't know how many versions of the model, behind O3, but I'm pretty sure they do tons of A/B testing in this case. And then, so even though all people are using O3 model, but each time you use it, maybe use a slightly different version, and then you may actually use a different memory part as well. Different wrapper. All these things could be a little bit different.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, you have Taiso hyperparameter. When you use ChatGPT, you don't need to, tune this temperature. You have tons of the hyperparameter you can tune. Comparing to using API way, you don't tune it, right? But underlying the model is constantly tuned. Plus probably you have different A/B testing, models. Plus you have the parameter. Plus you have memory, different way to code memory. To embedding, in this case, and then I think it's a it's if OpenAI is doing some experiment, you just have no way to prove you're not using OC. I feel like.
Right, for sure. Yeah, I think yeah, maybe some of this could happen more like in open source models first, then
Yeah, so Sean, I think that like the reason Scott mentioned all those is we in turn have debates on this as well. Like basically, what is the definition of the practical definition of like verifiability or like end-to-end verifiability? So like he said, right? Like it's going to be super challenging to have 100% flawless verifiability. Let's say, like you said, like in order to verify this agent is really doing what they're doing, you want to verify the brain, which is the foundation model they're calling to. So when it comes to OpenAI particular use case, there's no way we can do that for any closed source model. We can really do that unless we can fully verify or prove that they're using the model they claim, unless they internally implement something like that to provide that proof. The thing that we can prove though is this agent is calling OpenAI API. That's claim themselves using O1 or O3 underlying. But if they switch that model out and use like a more dumb model or like smarter model, how can you know that? But what potentially we can to have that is indeed like you say, right? If it's an open source model, and the open source model is hosted by a vendor who is willing to provide that certificate, which usually is much easier than ask OpenAI or like Anthropic to provide that, given that they're like a closed source model vendors, and also they're like the top of the markets. They have a lot more argument, like negotiation power there. So they probably it's less interesting for them to do that. But for other people, especially who are providing just a cloud service, inference service based on open source models, then maybe there's a more chance to have them also like being more cooperative and offer something that can extend the verifiability
for
to
sure.
that level. Yeah.
And I think users are like, they could potentially want different things, right? Like if you look at open source models, it fits with the crypto ethos a lot better too, in many ways. And for example, open source model users could be going there maybe for like privacy, right? Also, right, as a factor where not on top of just trusting the models. So I think there could be like different paths, right? There's like the centralized super powerful models, and then there's like the models that are democratized, right, to everyday people. And I think that's sort of ultimately the right vision, right? It's like it can't be like, oh, only like the elites have access to like the top centralized models. Now you get better open source models that's democratized, and a lot of people get access to it. Maybe the elites get 10, but everyone else is like at least 7, right? Not like 3. So I think, yeah, like that, I'm excited for this kind of development, and having verifiability and privacy for open source models could be like a very viable alternative compared to like hyper centralized solutions. because the current alternative is kind of using models locally, right? Or maybe running it yourself.
Yeah, so come from an infra background, Sean, you also from Docker, you definitely know. I'm firm believer in this case. Open source will win the competition in this case, and think about how like no matter it's Linux with Linux Ubuntu from the operating systems area or just data infra side, you have this. Spark versus Snowflake, and then Iceberg versus this closed source data warehouse solution. I feel like open source is winning word. We also see the similar trend in AI model as well. So I don't know. I feel like like a majority of world probably going to expose to the best state-of-art open source model, which I don't know if you're going to outcompete the best closed source model, but it's probably very close, at least very close to the closed source model in this case.
Yeah, I think there may be like additional benefits with like more personalization, right? From like the more centralized models, kind of like traditional big tech, right? Yeah, it's like there's a lot of data, a lot of personalization, but yeah, I think the open source can get there. And kind of a firm believer in like the technology trends towards like more automation and more democratization, right? And I think open source is, a necessity for that like democratization vision, where you're kind of bringing more access to these more powerful technologies for people across the globe. And yeah, partly that ethos is why I want to be in crypto. So.
Yeah, definitely getting into the ethos conversation. But I do want to chat more about that, honestly speaking. But we only have 7 minutes, so actually, given that you say you stay on there's drivers for you to stay in the crypto space. I want to ask you a hard question here. What is the current excitement people had about crypto, blockchain, or Web3 that's to you is actually very skeptical? We talked a lot about what is the good parts about the industry and the ethos, but what is the potential, like now people are excited about the trend, but to you you are not sure if that's a real trend or real thing.
Yeah, I actually think about this like a lot. It's like, why am I in this space? But yeah, I think I'm able to make sense with a lot of things, like even meme coins. I feel like it's a way to capture like value, right? Just because networks are inherently social. But I think one thing that I'm more skeptical about, I don't know if people are still like hyped about this, is the vision around like having way too many like generalized like L2s, app chains, L1s. I think like that perhaps is a trend that I'm more skeptical about, just given building and launching a protocol, like how difficult that is. Not only from like cost standpoint, but like distribution, retention, network effects. Just in terms of like cloning the technology is increasing, is getting easier, but it's actually harder for me to see a world where maybe like every application has their own like L2, right? Or app chain that's similar to L2 or more scalable. So that's why I'm a bit skeptical about, but I'm open to be educated on that.
Yeah, so Sean, I actually not skeptical about that part, because I feel like the business for blockchain is rental the block space. In this case, it's essentially rental block space. Most of the blockchain currently only can handle, like if you're using an EVM chain, it's probably like 50 to 100 each transaction per second. If you use a SVM chain, it's probably a few thousand. Like currently, I think the biggest issue is no mass adoption. That's the biggest issue. If you really have mass adoption, like few hundred transactions per second is literally nothing in this case. Uber, if you think about Uber has 30 million trips per day, and then in this case, it's definitely more than 100 transactions per second. But we're talking about trips, not like like in this high level. I think that currently, my view of the biggest mass adoption for user is that like someone gives this actually one of my friends at Circle gave me this great example. I feel like I'm really resonate about it. Using traditional finance is like using a JP Morgan Chase bank in SF. You just go there, bank there, and then deposit money, use the money. Using crypto is like hey, in the downtown San Francisco, I have a transparent box, and then I don't know who the box belong to. It's transparent, it's like everyone can see the tons money inside. It uses cryptographic way to secure the money, but anyone can see the money is inside this box and tons of money there. But no one knows who is owning this money. And if you own tons of money, everyone trying to hack the money. Like if you expand to normal user consumer, like they are very skeptical and scared to use it. But that's the reality of the cryptographic solution or blockchain solution or wallet. Like you have a transparent wallet, like in the downtown San Francisco, and everyone can see how much money in, how much money out, the pattern for the money. It's just no one has a key to it. But the key part is that if you have the key to it, you're not going to expose. You can wait for a timing. Actually, it has most of money to explode it in this case. So I think that's the tricky part to preventing the mass adoption, and also all this user experience frictions, all this headline news about money back hack.
Scott, but so for this part, actually, I have different opinions. Don't forget that there's just one Uber in the world. There's just one Facebook, one Instagram. Like, I don't know about Uber, but quote unquote about Facebook, the traffic they got last year among global social media is 70%. There's just one Facebook in the world. So why would every single app need such a strong infrastructure even in Web2? Because there's only that many super apps.
That's a good question. First is that transaction per second is actually 100 transaction per second for a blockchain is actually it's very easy to reach in this case, particularly in an agentic world. One normal transaction can break to 100 to 1,000 micro transaction in this case. So that's a part. But I'm saying currently
No, go ahead.
The key part is that currently the blockchain is not reach mass adoption. That's a major issue. Whatever reason, not reach mass adoption, no matter it's user experience, security reason, people not understanding it, people are afraid the money get lost.
That part makes sense. But again, does that mean like what Sean is talking about? Does mean every single app need to have their own app chain, which was a trend or as a assumption a lot of times people are talking about. That's to me, I'm not sure, because I don't think,
So at least maybe not every single app need an app chain, but if you're in for example, if you're using Polygon or using base chain in this case, and then say, hey, if I have no traffic, I have no issue using you, but as long as I have like a slightly traffic, because the future the agent traffic maybe 10x, 100x, I need to do migration. That seems extremely weird.
Yeah, that makes sense. And actually, to me, it's surprising that with so many apps that's in the blockchain ecosystem, in particular one blockchain ecosystem like Solana or like Base or like others, blockchain. There's not that much congestion of the traffic. That's also already means that the mass adoption is way not there yet.
If you look at all the transaction on Ethereum, 90% of DeFi transaction, have token swap A to B. You have 8% airdrop, 2% social, and that's it. Like at the end of the day, it's a token swap from A to B and then airdrop. That's all the traffic.
I think optimistic view is around stablecoin and tokenized assets could users into the space, and obviously will make it easy onboarding, more secure, and I'm pretty hyped about all the current developments.
Definitely, we have a big hope on there as well. So yeah, we really need a mainstream adoption to then be talking about, we need to further improve the like the throughput, scalability, and performance of the blockchain, because right now all those things doesn't matter until people really want to use on-chain solutions. Yeah,
I think it's closest as ever.
Yeah, makes sense. Awesome. Well, we're just at time, just 1 minute past. Before we go, Sean, any last wisdom or apples or whatever things you want to share with the audience? And
I learned a lot. It was a great conversation. I look forward to chatting and learning more. But yeah, like just stay tuned for more updates. Our team's working hard building the necessary infrastructure to enable like an ecosystem, right, of agents, and making them secure. But yeah, obviously, looking forward to explore ways we can collaborate more too with you guys. There's seems but also follow the updates from _ Sean Lee, Magic Newton, and magicnewton.com. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. That's covered my last question, where to find you guys. So, that's awesome.
Right.
Great. Thank you. Have a good day, guys, or good night. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Sean. Bye-bye.